All right, so unfortunately, we got some bad news to report for Jordan Brand, who has just recently made some major changes to their fall-winter lineup. And all of this is happening as Nike's current CEO, John Donahoe, who has just publicly acknowledged, quote, that the bold, disruptive innovation has been missing. So we're gonna get into this here shortly, but first, let's go ahead and start with New Balance, who has just recently teamed up with Chicago's very own Joe Freshgoods to reintroduce their 1000 model back to the market. Now, both of these pairs did sell out last week. Now, if you did miss out, New Balance will officially be releasing the Black Ice pair coming up this Friday, April 19. Now, Joe Freshgoods, he jokingly tweeted out Thursday afternoon, raffle ends Monday morning, where the F is my order. So sounds a little similar to the whole Yeezy situation that's going on right now, doesn't it? So of course, he's obviously referencing last week's raffle, which we saw the white and black pair released. Now, being is that it looks like for Friday's drop, we're only gonna see the Black Ice pair. That makes the white pair, I guess you could say, a little more highly collectible. So as far as the New Balance 1000, we know that metallic silver pair is supposed to be dropping, I guess, sometime next week. And we have a look here at some more GR colorways, which seemingly you can expect New Balance to release throughout the duration of the year. So as far as the New Balance 1000, this model originally released back in '98, which you can obviously tell from a lot of the design details. And to my knowledge, this pair has been vaulted and hasn't released since then. So it's pretty cool that New Balance is bringing these pairs back to the market, not mad at it at all. And speaking of New Balance bringing retro models back to the market, according to Sneaker News, it looks like New Balance will also be bringing back the New Balance 740. Now, as far as the design details on these, they kind of remind me of like a mix between the New Balance 530 and the 1906. I feel like they're definitely on trend with what's currently going on right now. And as far as the price point, being is that I feel like this is like the, you know, little bro or little sister to the 1906, which retails at 150 bucks. I would like to see New Balance, you know, try to take advantage of this model on the market by making it a more budget-friendly, you know, model compared to the 1906. So I would love for them to bring these in at like around 120 bucks, possibly even bringing them in at like $100. And I think these could be definitely a big hit. But besides the price point and everything like that, I feel like this is a great looking sneaker, and it'll be interesting to see, you know, what colorways they plan to choose to drop as they reintroduce this model back to the market. So we'll see how these joints do. I'm definitely going to be checking for these. I think they'll be most definitely popular amongst the ladies, and apparently these will be reintroduced to the market coming up this fall winter 2024. So hopefully with New Balance, you know, relying on bringing back a lot of their retro models, they don't get too complacent, and hopefully they double down on their innovation, because they don't want to end up like their counterparts over at Nike, who, although are leaders in the industry, many critics would argue that over the last few years or so have most definitely been lacking as far as their innovation goes. And it's not just a little bit of chatter, it's actually a lot of noise, so much that their current CEO, John Donahoe, has acknowledged in an interview that he sat down for recently with CNBC, saying that, quote, the bold, disruptive innovation has been missing. Now, he also goes on to say that even more importantly, our employees were working from home for 2.5 years. So he kind of blames the whole thing, I guess you could say, on the pandemic, and goes on even more in further detail, saying that, quote, in hindsight, it turns out it's really hard to do bold, disruptive innovation, to develop boldly disruptive sneakers on Zoom. So of course, we know last December, Nike did say that it planned to cut costs by $2 billion over the next 3 years. And then of course in February, Nike did announce 2% cut of its current workforce. So that put out roughly 1,500 people out of work. So as far as Nike cutting a little bit of the budget, we know that they've had a lot of accusations of their lack of innovation, and we start to notice it as well, as Nike's been relying on a lot of retro releases over the years to drive up revenue, so much that it seems like people are starting to get a little bit tired, of their constant retro re-releases. We're even seeing a lot of recent Jordan releases sitting on shelves, pairs that would normally sell out years back. Nike's having to heavily discount them in order just to move units. And we see that it's actually affecting Nike's fall winter lineup, which it looks like they have recently made some changes, canceling several releases or possibly postponing them for a later date. So these releases would include popular pairs like the Black Cat 5s, the Olive 1s, the Fire Red 6s, Brown Cement 3s, Chutney 13s, as well as the Mocha 185 lows. Now, all of these pairs were originally tentatively scheduled to release coming up this holiday fall winter lineup, and all of this information comes courtesy of Z Sneakerheads and Sneaker Files, which presumably I would assume that these gentlemen have access to the back end calendar of Nike. They did notice that these pairs have actually been removed from the lineup. My guess is that Jordan Brand was possibly getting ready to put these pairs into production, but are considering kind of retooling the whole fall winter lineup, possibly, due to the relatively low sales of a lot of these recent retro releases. But of course, we know they still have some big pairs, that'll make a lot of noise coming up this holiday, such as the Travis Scott Jordan 1 lows. We know those Black Cement 3s are on the way, as well as those Black 1 toes. So it's not all bad for Jordan Brand, but it feels like they're just releasing a lot of filler pairs, and it seems like the consumer base is starting to acknowledge that and just passing up on a lot of these releases. So of course, it is easy to be highly critical of Nike without giving a little bit of a solution and all of that. So my suggestion would be, to kind of do what it seems like they're already doing, holding back on some of these releases rather than dropping so many filler pairs. Maybe they should focus on the releases that they know are going to be instant hits to the public and just go ahead and up the stock numbers on those pairs. We saw them do that with the recently released Military Blue 4s, which just shock drop, as well as those Bread 4 Reimagines, where rumor had it that they dropped like over 1 million pairs of those joints, or are planning to drop over 1 million pairs, I should say, of those military industrial blues, or whatever you call it. So on top of that, I think that's a good solution in the short term. They'll still be able to sell units. They just need to up the numbers of the more popular releases. And on top of that, of course, as well as another short-term solution, Nike has a whole nother back catalog of great retro pairs that have been vaulted and we haven't seen released in many years. Specifically, when you just think of the Jordan Brand altogether, you got retro models from like the 15 all the way to the 23 that a lot of people my age have a lot of nostalgia for, surprisingly. So I feel like they could really tap into that catalog of retro models from 15 even all the way up to the 23. But on top of that, again, they don't want to fall victim to just kind of like being stagnant and relying on their retro releases. So while they're dipping into that back catalog, I feel like they should definitely double down on their innovation. And as well as, like, if you take a look into the basketball sector, Nike and Jordan Brand have a lot of talented, great athletes, and I feel like they're making a little bit of noise with like those Ja 1s, those Sabrina 1s, and even those Book 1s. I feel like are having a somewhat of an impact, especially the Ja 1s, I would say more so. But a lot of their Jordan Brand athletes, I think they're giving them a lot of ugly sneakers. Like, I'm thinking those Tatums are pretty trash, the 1s and the 2s. I'm not a fan of the Luka releases either. So I feel like if they double down on their innovation, they get some really cool designs out there, I think the people will gravitate towards those models. Those are amazing athletes. They just got to get them some good looking sneakers. We see what Adidas is doing right now with the AE1, and I feel like if Jordan Brand just comes with some good models, the people will eat those up. So what is your solution for Nike Jordan Brand, which many critics, rightfully so, have said that they've been lacking as far as innovation? It's easy to be highly critical, but we got to give a little bit of suggestions. I already gave y'all some little input just in the short term, just off the top of my head, but I can't really spill any more of the bad, because if not, Nike, they got to pay me or something like that. So let me know what you guys think. We see several Jordan Brand releases pushed back, possibly canceled, maybe also releasing at a later date. So I feel like this is really bad news for the Jordan Brand. Although Nike, Jordan are at the top of the industry, I feel like this could come to bite them later on, as a lot of the other brands are starting to emerge as competitors. So for Jordan Brand, rather than just relying on these stagnant retro releases, we've seen them, investing more into the golf sector, as well as into baseball, and even into like racing and stuff like that. So, but I think their really core essence, of course, is the basketball market, and they got to hit that back catalog of 15 through 23 and get some of these new young athletes that are currently, killing it on the court some good looking sneakers, because them Luka joints, them new ones that just popped up, I'm sorry, y'all, it ain't it. So drop your feedback down below about the whole situation. Also, New Balance, they're killing things. So let me know what you guys think about the 1000 model. And did you guys try to grab those Joe Fresh goods? Are you looking for the restock coming up this Friday? Drop your feedback down below. We're gonna wrap things up right here. I'm JA. Make sure you guys stay safe, stay blessed, and I'm out. I'll catch y'all tomorrow. Love.